Like, when people say, oh, so I was judged unfairly, I've been judged unfairly. Like, everyone has, you know. And cop it, you know, you're in a part where it's a subjective sport. You might see it as the other way go around. You might have 10 people that say the same thing. Well, guess what? The judges don't, you know, and you've got to get on and move on with it, because all you're going to do is make yourself look like a fuckwit, and you're going to burn bridges. And at the end of the day, no one cares. You can scream and cry all day saying, oh yeah, you know, fuck, you know, I should have won, should have, could have, would have, no one gives a fuck, you know, like, maybe I'm ranting tonight. But like, I learned that when I was natural. You know, so get over it.
Get off social media when people do that. Worst thing you can do is get on your phone and start bashing social media.
Like it just burns bridges, man. Like, you know, like fuck, there's just
Shut
no
up,
need.
take humble pie, go out, fucking have a decent feed.
My thing is this, right? When Ronnie Coleman would walk out, right? Jay Cutler in 2009, Phil Heath every fucking year, he was in it. Dorian Yates, like these guys were walking out, right? And this matters for the girls too. Let's just use names that majority of people know, yeah? When they're walking out, they're not even flexing it. He's won.
Yeah.
They're not even fucking halfway on the stage yet. They're walking out and you go, oh, well, he got first. He doesn't even have to sit in for his front relaxed. You just know when they're walking out through their...
You see the silhouette in the back.
Oh, you just like game over. Who's getting second? You know, and people talk about, oh, you know, those years where Jay Cutler should have beaten Ronnie or Kai Green should have beaten Phil or whatever. No, like, they were that good that they can beat top level bodybuilders by walking out and shaking them, you know. And look, like what I said before about old mate, you know, it wasn't directed necessarily at him that he said, you know, I shouldn't use that word on live, but it's Australia, so. But look, here's the thing, it's like, when you're doing this, I see so much of it. I see so much of the sport, like I just, you know, every single show that goes by, there's always someone sitting a dummy about a bad call. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And sometimes, you know, it is a bad call. Sometimes they'll go, oh, yeah, well, maybe that person should have won. What are you going to do? The judge is going to sit there and say, oh, you know what, actually, you know what, we just got 10 people in the crowd just told us that we probably should have won. So we're just going to revoke that.
Yeah, it's the same in every sport. No, every sport's the same. The refs calls, the refs call. You can't. It's not as if you can go back and say, hey.
Oh, you know, we should have won. We should have scored that last try. It's like, well, why weren't you 20 in front?
Yeah.
Why did you let them score in the first place till the other, you know, tries
There
or
was
goals?
a penalty or that, or clearly it was a penalty because he fucking blew it. Was into that.
Next, Sammy.
Someone's asking what the deck on the wall is.
This is not our deck. This is a private podcast studio by the business Broken Tree and Gold Coast Podcast Studios. Is that correctly?
Yeah, mate.
No plug there or anything like that. Just this is home. This is where we're at. Night Silence is upstairs. Very pimped out area, and we spend a lot of time with you. Okay, doing nothing.
So my laptop's actually just started, so I'm only able to view questions on the IMSL Instagram at the
Oh,
moment.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Where else are they? Say hello.
Go on my profile.
Yep.
Someone's asking how many square meters the gym is.
The gym is 250 square meters. 250 square meters. Yeah, 250 square meters. I have a topic to talk about tonight actually.
What's that?
Do you feel like when a client leaves you, it's like a breakup?
Depends on what terms.
Or maybe it's like, you know, well, it depends on terms, you know, as far as how long you're looking for.
There you go. Something to say.
No, I'm just saying because I had a long-term client go elsewhere this week. You know, no bad blood. Like we just talked about it, and you know, his options were best. And I'm like, man, that's a pretty smooth fucking breakup there. You know, there's no. Why can't all breakups be like that? Do you know what I mean? Do you ever have bad breakups?
Where you gonna go?
With violence, is what I'm saying. I mean, it kind of resembles like a fucking, you know,
I
relationship.
think when you're emotionally invested in the work that you do, it's hard always to see a client that's, I just wish them the best. I give them a discount card to the surgeon and say, all the best. See you
But
in
you,
6 months.
they say to you like, oh, hey Nick, can you get a coffee?
Can I get a coffee? Oh, no, I don't get the premiums.
We just get a text, a record by text.
No, just, I don't know.
Well, does no one leave you because you're just that fucking That's why I'm getting all just people leave you because I'm shit.
Nah, it's like, obviously not everyone's eligible to run it either, like I have and you have a relatively high level of adherence levels to want to actually work with someone long term, like, and sometimes it just doesn't gel. There's people who come in for a second appointment and if they haven't gone and done certain things or haven't even had a crack at the program yet, I'm like, mate, you know, we can call it a day, we can shake hands and just move on from here, it's no point. You know,
I had a client walk out on me last night. And look, you know, like we talked it out afterwards because I thought about it, you know, like you have a problem with this too, like you're a bit of an asshole, right? You're probably more of an asshole than I am. But sometimes, you know, I find that, you know, people will come to me or they'll come to you because, you know, they like the truth and they like the honesty, they like the transparency and things like that, yeah? Sometimes that shit can kind of bite you back in the ass because sometimes when you're so used to, you know, if you were talking to me and you said, bro, that fucking dead was shit, the fuck you doing? You waste my fucking time. I was like, oh, all good. But other people you spoke to them like that, they walk out the gym until you get fucked, yeah?
maybe after that.
Well, that's kind of what happened to me last night. And I thought about it after, because, you know, there's no emotion in what you talk. Like, you're not trying to put the person down, right?
No.
And I actually had to check myself because I did have a think about it after. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I don't want to see people upset or crying or, you know, feeling, you know, like they're never good enough. You know, I actually took my point to apologise too, because even though there was things being miscommunicated, etc., there's times where you got to kind of take that reality check and say, hold up a second, like, you can also be the problem in that situation.
I think it's knowing when to pat and when to slap. You know?
Pat and when to slap. Like turkey slap.
Metaphorically.
Like turkey slap.
Turkey slap, yeah.
Keep
No,
going.
no, I think it's knowing when to give a client a pat on the back and say, hey, you're doing the right thing, and or just to glide them through that tough period if they're having some challenges. But then there's times where you need to come down like Thor's hammer and just put them in their place.
But dude, like, so this shit relates to fucking parenting and shit as well, because you see kids go off in the other way, you know, so this coaching aspect of being too hard on a client all the time, because sometimes, you know, with me, for example, my client that I last night, I see so much in this client, like so much. And yeah, like, you know, there's a few things they fucked up with, right, and we can work through that, but I feel like if my approach was different throughout this whole process, then maybe things would have been understood a bit better. And that's why I've taken the initiative to say to the client, I've said to clients in the past, like, you know, you don't want to feel a certain way, but if they went elsewhere because of it, you want them to be comfortable within a decision like there's no bad blood. Like, there's no point burning bridges, is what I'm saying.
There's no point burning bridges unless, in my situation, I make it very clear if someone has become compromised by another coach or another individual and they've become involved with.
Okay, so I know we've kind of touched on this before, but I don't talk about the same thing every time.
But in the sense of if they go somewhere else, it's like, you know, I just put them in my Excel spreadsheet and predict when their injury is going to occur because I've had the right to be able to look at their entire approach at this point. So I just make that prediction and then I pat them on the back and ask them how their shoulder or their knee or the back was 6 months later, you know, because I know it's going to happen. So that's their problem, not, you know, that's where it leads to. So, you know.
But how do you deal with that undermining another coach? Because at the same time, you don't want to be talking shit about the coaches, bro.
In a way, but my interest isn't the coach, it's the athlete. So it's the coach. It's not my problem to undermine the coach. My problem is the athlete. So the coach can suck me off for all I care. I'm more interested in the athlete and their future, not the coach that's, you know, potentially ruining the athlete's, you know, 20-year career that they might not have anymore.
If they were to suck you up with a train.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew it.
If you
You're a dog.
Just remember, all dogs have them.
So what you got from that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I have all this stuff pre-scripted. That's why I was late. I was reading my script.
You're reading your script.
I gotta find my fucking what is it? My triggers with you. Tell me, how do you
Here we go. Here's the interview. Come on.
how do you separate, right, your emotional involvement with all this, and then when you go home on the weekends when you have your downtime?
It's usually very quiet. Yeah.
No, like how do you honestly separate it? Like people want to know because people will finish work and work is still in their mind, right? How do you separate your shit from that?
Yeah, it's been a massive thing in my past trying to do that is getting off. Probably this thing is probably the key. Just putting it down and just realizing what's in front of you, like either who or which animal or whatever it might be. You know, Hunter's my German Shepherd, and he reminds me pretty quickly that, you know, that doesn't really matter, or the client can wait till the morning sort of thing. So I've been better at that recently, like being able to sort of go, hey, he's been screaming for my attention all day and I've been working with everyone but him. You know, it's now time to give him some time. So yeah, it's definitely a work on. It's hard to manage business and
Personal life,
and personal. Downtime, yeah, especially when you're working from, some days you're here from 5 till, I'm here 5 till, some nights 8:30, you know, or start a little bit later, 8 a.m, you're finishing at 9:30, it's just like, what do you do when you see that, you don't see the sun come up and you don't see it go down? It's like, you've got to have some sort of reset, and that's usually, for me, it's Sunday. Sunday for me, like, client can message me and most of the time I'll be off the grid, just for a me day, so. I don't know, what do you do? What do you do?
No, what I'm saying, someone like you who does a lot of, you specialise in preventing injuries, right? That's your main thing that you're good with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not really talking too much about your mental health. People want to see the deep. People want to see the deep, fucking deeper than Callum. As they say, deeper is better.
Yeah, I guess it's for me, like, I have a way of sort of managing my stress, and the things that I do is probably, taking that day or so to, just reconnect with the things that actually are important. Like, yeah, business is important, but, it's, for me, it's having a little bit more outside of that. My personal life that, we catch up on a Sunday morning for brekkie and, just...
We do actually do that.
Yeah, we have pancakes on Sunday and just,
The waiter even knows what we're talking about, I think, does it?
Huh? Yeah, he does, yeah.
It's cute.
So, we sort of just, that day's sort of a day to sort of, I guess, just reset. I don't know, what do you do?
Dude, I'm full time, man. Like, I've got a kid, so I don't really have downtime. Because my spare time is with her, so as much as it's downtime. Fuck, I took her to a play centre on the weekend. Fuck me. Here I'm going there thinking I can just chuck her in the fucking play centre. She can just run around for 2 hours and wear herself out. Fucking walk in there, it's busy in the Sin City. There's a fucking line going out the door. There's a shut gate there. I'm like, man, I've got other clubs years ago. It feels like I'm fucking looking back here.
Yeah,
and they're like, oh, we don't have any tables for you to sit down with. I'm like, get fucked, man. So I'm sitting there like a player, middle of the thing, just moving around for people, because you're the size I am, you're always sticking out like a sore thumb. Just because someone else bumps into someone, it's all good. They bump into me, like, oh, this fucking guy's in the fucking way. Fucking stay away from the kids. He's fucking,
It's too big. It's too big for play centres.
So yeah, look, honestly, my downtime's fucking outfit my kid. But it's just understanding how you can kind of balance those things in a check, man, because it's very easy, like, even for me, when I started, I'm like, yeah, fuck, I'll go out and tear up the weekends with it. I'm doing like 4 things on a Saturday, 4 things on a Sunday. You come Monday, you need a weekend from the weekend.
I think also, like, knowing for me, it's probably been of recent times, knowing a little bit more of whom to work with at certain times and when I'm most compromised. Like, obviously people bring different stress and different emotions and different energy, and it's probably, knowing that and sort of pre-predicting.
Do you look at your calendar sometimes, you got one person next and you just be like, fuck. Because I can hear that from your table upstairs.
I don't think I do that. I think I did certainly fucking, know that someone's going to bring
or require more need of attention and more assistance, and I'm ready for that. I wouldn't, but it's like, it's also just, it's making sure that I am ready for that, and if I'm not ready, am I better to be at home and chilling?
Do you need to warm up before you see Aaron play? Like, do you need to stretch and do your own work first before you fucking
My
see
own
Aaron?
mental, sit down and meditate. Nah, Aaron's got it down to a pat now these days. Early on in the early stages, I'd message him every day and say, "Have you fucking stretched, cunt?" And yeah, he'd sort of reply with a probably similar response. Tell me to fuck off or something like that. But yeah, like it's, as I said, every athlete, every individual brings something different. Obviously, new consults this week, done 4 new biggies, and those are new experiences. You don't know what you're walking into, so it's always exciting in that regard. It's a new body, a new person to look at, working out what's going on with their body and how they've got to that point.
We didn't get to catch up last week, by the way. Because apparently you were too busy for something, or whatever it was. Talking shit. But what happened with the dog bite? Tell the viewers about the dog bite, can you?
Basically 2 dogs got into a scrap and I had to split them up.
Do you feel like a hero after?
And I felt like I was the most hurt in the situation.
Man, I know it's broken with dog fight, but I know with this dog that I got, he just leg it.
Leave you.
He looks so here on the table, right?
You got it.
Is it all good?
Might just shut that door.
I didn't believe you in 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're fucking late.
Oh, someone just asked, can you bring a gym to WA?
Yeah, when I start making some money. I just feel like everything I fucking do is just putting back into this joint. But I wouldn't have it any other way. And that's definitely what I want to do. I want to. It's cool. Like, it's cool how like people travel to come here, eh?
It's cool how people are starting to like.
People come here, man. Like, and people. I've had someone, like from WA. We've had Paulie fly over here.
Yeah.
But then even when you hear someone drive 5 hours from wherever the fuck it was, I'm like, you drove all the way just come here, like. That's pretty cool.
Some of the people that have even just come through here, it's like no gym on the Gold Coast would ever get the caliber. Maybe caliber, it's not the right word, but type of
It's more so
individual.
at the one time. You
Yeah.
kind of walk through sometimes and you're like, oh, there's an influencer, there's a pro, another pro,
Yeah.
whatever. All that shit's pretty cool, and it's kind of getting exposure now. And I get messages like that about people wanting to go in a state and things like that. But I think if you're going to franchise something, you really got to kind of nail it first in your original position. The other day I just kind of started this off as a studio and then just kind of kept growing and growing. And although it's heading everything in the right direction, I get more of a kick out of putting my money into that. Like, I've never been a gambler. I don't like to gamble money and all that kind of shit. My thing is to come in and gamble on myself and just keep putting that money through the business. I get much more of a kick of that. My bank account doesn't like it. My accountant doesn't like it, but like, it's just one of those things that at the end of the day you want to grow the business. That's what you got to do. I get a far more kick from that.
Yeah, these next few years. Time to do it, I guess.
That's cute, Nick. But Nick's got to run, so we're going to cut it short again tonight, don't we?
Is there any more questions?
Our laptop's dead.
Yeah, my laptop's dead.
Oh, that's a shame.
Did you get the one about how do you differ strength from muscle?
Strength
That's a good
muscle.
one. Pump that out quick.
Say that again. How do I differ?
Okay, so that's one. How do you separate the difference between someone being strong versus someone having a lot of muscle?
There's naturally like the larger cross section of muscle, the greater probably the individual has of lifting heavier load. That would be one thing, but it's not necessarily. Yeah, for me, it's like, dude, it's very individual specific. I think because like you've got powerlifters who are 80 kilos.
Determine the word strong is what
Yeah.
I think. Like how long is a piece of string? If someone says to me, oh, he's strong, it's like, well, it's a different skill required to deadlift a 1 rep versus deadlift something for 20.
Yep.
You want to go in and squat you know, 4 plates for 20 reps. You know, like I know, for example, with me, if I was to go max out on the squat now, or even say my PB squat was 6 plates for 6 reps a couple of years back. Now, I could do that, and I always loved training like that. But it'd be much harder to do 4 plates for 20. You know, so what do you consider strong? I think you should always be leaning towards strength without being strength the only variable towards executing movement.
Yeah, I would agree. Particularly for most sports, unless you're in the strength sports of Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting. How much weight's in the bar is pretty irrelevant.
That's it for tonight. Nick's going to run. Thank you, ladies and gents. We'll make sure our laptop is charged next week, so we don't go into more deep and meaningfuls like we do every time. But people probably like it, so that's alright. Until next time, we're out.